Hello everyone, this is Whitney with my week 1 discussion forum post answering the question, based on the assigned readings and the instructor videos, discuss how the United States origin story has influenced the American people's identity ever since. And one thing that really stood out to me from the readings and the videos is how the origin story isn't really just about the past. It still shapes how Americans see themselves. History wasn't inevitable. It was shaped by people's choices, and it's life in America is still being shaped by choices of every single person. And the country really started with resistance against power or authority in Great Britain, and the idea that people can challenge authority. It's not just, I don't like that, but if I argue, off with my head, From the beginning, Americans really saw themselves as people who value freedom and independence, and a lot of that is probably in the fact that it started with a rebellion, so everyone had their opinion, and focus on natural rights. The government, rights don't come from the government, rights come from God and nature, and that's really the whole Declaration of Independence. It also helps to explain the distrust of government that we still see very much today. People are still very distrustful of the government, and they still have a strong sense of individualism. And then republicanism, which is a word that I have a hard time saying. So if I continue to say it and say it wrong, I'm sorry. It doesn't come out off the tongue easily. They didn't want a king, but they also did not want a full democracy. And based on how I understand republicanism, it's basically self-government but with limits, and the leaders are supposed to be virtuous. They're supposed to be people that a virtue. I don't know another word to describe that. And that's why we have things like the Electoral College and checks and balances to really ensure that those systems are including everyone. I also noted Americans really kind of learned to balance freedom with fear of chaos, because, full freedom and everyone just be doing whatever they want is chaos. That would not go smoothly, and they learned how to have freedom but still know that you can't just run wild and free completely. Free is not a good choice of words there. I think there are some contradictions there, though. Like slavery existed while claiming equality, and that women were excluded from political power, and that the Native Americans were, pushed out of that equation, even though they are Americans. So the identity really was complicated. America believes in equality, but didn't always practice it, and still doesn't always practice it. And I think the long-term impact of all of that was that because of the origin story, Americans tend to see protest and reform as patriotic, or a lot of Americans, I should say, and that there is a belief that the country is always a work in progress, which I also believe. Things can always be improved upon based on who you ask. So I think the U.S. origin story really shaped American identity by giving people both a standard and a challenge. Like, this is what we want, but this is what we have to do to get it. And I think that's all. I think I answered all of it. Thank you. Have a good week.